Welcome to another episode of Parenting Not What You Thought podcast, where we delve into the depths of parenting in ways that you might never have thought of before. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. Hello, everybody. Please welcome our guest, Moshe Moskowitz from Jump Into Shape. Welcome, Moshe Moskowitz. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
It's my pleasure. Please, can you tell our listeners a little bit about you?
Sure, about me. I guess personally, I'm someone who didn't grow up religious and didn't grow up with any connection to exercise. And through the years, I became religious. I started to exercise, on my own. When I was about 40, I realized it's important to exercise. My family has a history of diabetes and heart problems. I started jump roping. First year using weighted jump ropes just 3 times a week. I lost 14 pounds that I need to lose. And that led to me leading classes. That led to when COVID came, we had online classes. And now we have 12 online programs that people can follow from anywhere, for men, for women. Really, we have our members range from high school age to age 78 right now.
Wow, it's amazing. Now, I'll just mention here that I know Moshe Moskowitz personally in his capacity as a jumping instructor, because I actually took his courses for a while, and they're very enjoyable. I still use the jump ropes, by the way.
Amazing, thank you.
Yeah. So let me ask you a question like this, because most of my listeners are younger parents, and this is something that actually happened to me when I was a bacher. I was in Eretz Yisrael, and I used to walk everywhere, like everywhere. And, a 15-minute walk was like around the corner now. It automatically did a lot of exercise. Just walking. Then I got married, and now I live further from the yeshiva. When I got married, it was more like a 45-minute walk. And my wife had a job, and we only had one car. And then you have our first 2 kids, and they had to be picked up from the babysitter. So all of a sudden, I'm not walking at all. I'm driving everywhere. What would be your advice for someone like me who goes from being very active to all of a sudden more or less sitting a whole day?
It's definitely something I talk to a lot of people about. I think it's a change in mindset where people say, I never find the time to exercise. And I agree with them. It's very hard to find the time to exercise. The change in mindset is from finding it to making it. It's a very simple thing. Number one easiest thing I tell people all week long. At the beginning of your week, I want you to go on your calendar, wherever you have your appointments, your work appointments, your personal appointments, your doctor's appointments, block out 3 times a week that you're going to exercise, 15 to 20 minutes. It might conflict with family and stuff. Make sure you clear it with your spouse or other people in your family, but make a schedule and keep it to it. That is, once you're able to block out the time, it's no longer about finding time. You've now made the time. And then you just have to fill in the gaps on what you're going to do, what you enjoy, and what you find challenging, and what you find beneficial. But that's the number one thing. Once you do that, the rest is actually easy.
Okay, so you're saying that the main thing is to block out a period of time during the week for exercise to someone who's not naturally exercising anymore. So let me ask you, this goes back a little bit to what I just said before, and, dovetailing into what we're talking about now with the younger parent. When somebody is naturally active, right, let's say like when I said I was walking all over the place, is that enough? Or does he need to block out time even when a person, is naturally active into, moving all the time and walking all over the place? Would that be sufficient? Or does he need to, in that case, also block out a period of time to specifically exercise?
Right. No, it's a good question. There is you definitely want to be as active as possible, meaning, when you're going to wherever you're going, try to take the stairs. If you can, instead of the elevator, try to park a little further away from where you're, wherever you're making a stop. This way you have that you're walking. When I'm in meetings during the day, I try to stand like I'm standing now. So there is that idea to make your normal life more active. But I think it's also important to build in time where you're getting your heart rate up and you're also working your muscles. So yes, it's good to be active, but I don't think it's enough. I think, walking back and forth, you're not going to increase muscle. You're not going to really get your heart rate pumping. Your heart's a muscle. You want to be working it. You want to get your muscles. Again, we're not looking to anyone enter a bodybuilding contest. We're making sure people are able to build a body and use it for the rest of their life. The more you invest, I mean, it's really an investment. The time that you spend exercising, it's an investment in your health. And I mean, people invest in so many things. Who doesn't want to invest in their health?
Right. That's true. That's an interesting point that you think. See, I was hoping to get off easy, but now you're explaining how serious it is, and that's not really going to work.
I don't let anyone off easy. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true. Nothing good comes easy. Not parenting, not exercise. Nothing good comes easy. But the reward makes it worth it. That's what
Right.
you get out of it is what makes it worth it.
Yeah, it's truly an investment. It's truly an investment.
Right. So let me ask you like this. So obviously, everybody has their own lifestyle. Like you said, we need to make time for the exercise. And again, I'm going back to this young parent who all of a sudden found out that his time is not his own. I spoke with Avi Friedman the other week about the time management for the
Right.
young parent who all of a sudden found out that his time is not his own. While he's managing that time, you're saying a very important block to put in is the exercise piece. So if you were advising a young parent on how much time to block out a week, what would be obviously the optimal goal that you can give them for how much they should be blocking out to exercise? And there's the amount of time, and there's how often do you do that, right? So is it better to space it? Is it better to do a lot at once? Like how often would be optimally both in the amount of time and in the frequency for somebody to exercise?
Right, right. Another great question. There's the optimal, the ideal, and the realistic. These are all different things on the spectrum. Ideally, everyone should be exercising 5 times a week. You could put in 15 to 20 minutes. That would be amazing. It's usually not practical. So I say, especially if you haven't been exercising. I've had people who haven't exercised and they say, I'm going to start today. I'm going to do 5 times a week. I said, that's the worst idea ever because it's not going to happen. And then you're just going to be like, you're going to give up. I say start with 3 times a week as a goal, even 15 minutes, 3 times a week. Start that as your goal. And then guess what? If you accomplish that and it's at the end of the week, you already did 3 times and you have another time, throw in another time. That's fine. Start small. It's always important to start small. First of all, your body might not be used to exercising. And then on top of it, just also setting the time is hard, like we talked about, especially for young families. So start small, build yourself up, and realize that yes, if you have young kids, things are going to come up. Anything. If you have kids, older, younger, no kids, it doesn't matter. Things always happen. But if you plan, at least if you plan, there's a chance it's going to happen. If you don't plan, it's not going to happen. As far as the young parents, you know, try to say, obviously it's hard. You want to get a lot accomplished when the kid's napping or whatever. So say, okay, today when the kid naps, I know it's important. I have to do X, Y, Z. I have to do, I don't know, you can fill in. There's so many things that I have to do from pay bills to do the laundry, whatever it is. Exercising is important for not just you, for the family. I like to tell people, you can be a little selfish. What I mean by that is they take the airplane model. What do they tell you? They tell you that if the oxygen falls, take care of yourself first. It's not being selfish. It's giving you the energy and the oxygen to help someone else. If you help them, they might fund. No one's gonna win. So if you're able to take the time and be a little selfish, it's giving you more energy to help other people in the family.
Right.
It's not really selfish. It's really helping everyone.
Right.
Again, the young family, again, they have to plan too. The baby's going to sleep. I know it's important. I can do these 18 other things, but my health is also important.
That's
And it
true.
gives you more strength and more energy to do all those other things.
Right. If, for example, when a parent says, they don't want to eat yet or go to sleep yet because they have to take care of their family, it's really very important for them to be able to eat and sleep for their family. A big
100%.
part of them taking care of their family is making sure that they are well taken care of so that they can take care of their family. I just want to point out to everyone, whoever's watching this, not just listening, that Moshe Moskowitz actually practices what he preaches. He's doing this interview standing up because he says it's healthier. He has a water thing by him. He's drinking, and I wouldn't be surprised if he starts lifting weights sometime in the middle of the year. So let me just go through a couple of points of what you just said. This idea of starting slow, shouldn't just all of a sudden start with your huge goals, and you have to take it piece by piece, is a great and excellent idea every area of life. And I see that the more I talk to different coaches, is that they all say the same thing. I mean, I do it when I work with parents. I tell the parents that the same way you have to give your children space to learn and understand that they're still learning, you have to give yourself space to learn and understand that you're still learning and you're growing and you're not there yet. So you have to give yourself the space to fail. When I spoke to Avi Friedman the other week, and he was saying the same thing also, don't start with trying to time manage your whole day if the whole day is in disarray now. Take 1 or 2 blocks of time and start with that. And you're saying the same thing. You're not going to go from 0 to 100. Start small and build it up.
Right, right.
And that was one amazing point. The other thing you said was optimally somebody would want to do 15 to 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I'm guessing that that's better than doing an hour and a quarter, an hour and a half once a week. It comes out about the same time. But is the 15 to 20 minutes a day, is that just because practically it's easier? Or is that better for you in exercise and health wise?
No, it's a good question. I think it's better for you because your body needs exercise as much as possible. It's imagine if you were going to eat on Sunday for the whole week and starve the rest of the week. That's not going to help your body. Your body needs to have that constant flow of exercise and movement and strength building. So it's good to space it out. However, that said, there are people who have a question. They say, listen, I have 45 minutes workout on Sunday, and I can work out my whole body. And I don't know what's gonna happen the rest of the week. So I said, okay, if that's the case, you really don't know. The rest of the week is a complete suffix. You don't know what's gonna happen. I said, fine, then use the 45 minutes. The next day, if you have 10 minutes, get the 10 minutes in there. So yeah, again, you have to look at the whole picture and realize, a person might be, traveling on vacation. They're gonna one day they can work out. Okay, so I would invest extra time in working out that one day because the rest of the week you're going to get nothing done. So yeah, you have to really step back, look at the whole picture, and say, what am I capable of this week? But go from there. Realize that there's a reality. Like I said before, there's a reality to the picture
I
as
mean,
well.
I know a lot of people who like play basketball every night to Shabbos. That's their allotted time. Again, when you have a young parent, especially a young mother, and she's running around after the kids and cleaning and everything. But you said before that it's better to have a specific amount of time set aside for exercise. Also, of course, I'm assuming that that's better. That's better than nothing, right? That's better than sitting on the couch. So they automatically get a certain amount of exercise going on. But let me ask you about that. Is there a difference in these things between men and women? Never did a formal poll, but you'll find more men that could use exercise. Again, I don't know anything about this field. Is that true? Like, is there a difference between men and women in this? Because then maybe the lady, if she doesn't eat as much, maybe the running around would give her a lot more bang for her buck than it would for her husband.
Right, right. I think all the studies generally I've seen, everyone needs to exercise. Everyone needs to, work their muscles. Everyone needs to work their heart. Everyone has to realize the importance of it. I mean, some people will tell you different things that different people have to work on, but for sure, everyone needs to exercise. I found particularly that as we offer more different services at Dumb Shape, a lot of the women tend not to want to do the jump ropes. They tend to want to do the weights and the Pilates, and the men like to do the jump rope more than the women, and the men like to do the weights too. And that goes into another factor also that when we're differentiating not just between men and women, different, just on a personal level, I find it's very important for each person to find things to do that they find fun. It sounds funny or funny. It sounds logical. Exercise is work, like you said before, and it takes time and it takes effort. So you want to make sure you enjoy it because, if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to do it. I almost rather someone do something for exercise that they enjoy that maybe doesn't give them the best workout versus something that they don't enjoy it and gives them a better workout. Because in the first example, because they enjoy it, they're going to keep doing it. And in the second example, if they don't enjoy it, even if they see benefit, it's going to be hard to stay with it. It's just it's not going to resonate with them.
Right.
And also along those lines too, I do find whatever you do, it should be fun and it should be challenging too. A lot of people like to challenge themselves, and when they challenge, then they raise the bar. They push themselves to do more. They're exerting more energy. They're exerting more
Yeah,
strength. It's very easy. It also gets boring. It's very easy. So you have to find that meaning. So yeah, again, I think men and women both have to exercise. People of all ages, and each person to find something that really speaks to them on their personal level.
it's amazing. It's interesting because that also goes into the way like people work and the way people think. That obviously when they're enjoying something, they're going to keep it up more rather than just based on a purely altruistic, or like pure type of reason for doing it, that it's
Right.
good for you or you're going to gain from it. It's a harder sell, a harder reason for someone to keep something up than to something that they enjoy. And they also know that it's a good thing that they're doing.
Right.
And I guess that's why your thing is called Jump into Fun. Don't you
So
have an email address or something? Jump into Fun?
the website, website is jump to
Website, Jump into Fun.
dot fun. Jump to shape
Not
dot
fun.
fun.
Right,
So, but
Jump
it
dot
wasn't
fun.
like that. I went to do .com. It was taken. So I didn't know there was a .fun, and it worked out better. I think it makes
Yeah,
more sense.
yeah,
It,
that's
it
cute.
was really the shirt because I never knew that there was a .fun,
Right.
and I'm glad I found out because it does resonate, like you said.
Okay, so now I think we have it pretty summed up in appearance, and that however busy you are, you want to try to make sure to block out some period of time during your week to be active, to do exercise that you enjoy, do exercise that will keep you going. And that is something that's very important for you and very important for your family that you
Right,
should do that.
right,
Let's move on now to the children themselves. So I can tell you that children, most children are very active. So active that I was asking you if their parents get enough exercise because they are active, right? Because their parents are running after them and everything. I mean, we have kids, climbing the walls. And if you think this is just metaphorical, I mean, I can tell you I was in a school where I saw a boy just shimmy up the pillar. I mean, just straight up the smooth marble pillar without, I mean, literally climbing the walls. So do children also need to like make specific times to be active with specific exercise, or is their day to day yes enough for them? And I guess included in that question is, do children need as much exercise as adults? I mean, they're smaller, their bodies don't need as much. So, what's with them? Is their day to day activity enough or not?
right. I would definitely consult the doctors on the specifics of the question. I would say, though, just based on my observations, that kids need to be active and consult with the doctors how much active. But they definitely have to be active. So my understanding is they have bodies too. So, if their bodies are just sitting down and, on the phone or screening, it's not good because Hashem made all of our bodies to be active, to be moving. So again, as a doctor, my feeling is I don't think that kids at a certain age need to be using dumbbells and they have to be having a set regimen. But they should be moving their bodies. I mean, I remember when I was young, I would be playing basketball all the time. I wasn't really lifting weights and I definitely wasn't jump roping. But yeah, so it is important to get kids active. And I think one of the ways to do that is just to model. Like in most things in life. The best way to do it is model. I know in our family, my wife teaches classes and she also exercises. I teach classes as well. And thank God, all four of our kids like to exercise. Each on their
Mm.
own way. One doesn't like to use the studio, but that one likes to go rock climbing. So that's, if you ever gone rock climbing, indoor rock climbing, 3 stories high, it's hard. It's
Yeah,
a
that's
lot
not
harder
for me.
than
I'm,
indoor.
I'm scared of heights. That's not for
Yeah,
me.
I'll tell you a secret. When he believes me, he puts me. I go up there, and about halfway through, I get scared of heights. But I know I have to do it for him. I hope he has lots of video. But yeah, so I'm halfway up, and I'm only looking at the wall. I'm like, I don't look down. Don't look down. I just keep going. I just keep going. Keep a smile on my face, and it's I do my best. Yeah. So I think modeling is one of the ways, and it's two things. I think so. I'll take a step back. It's modeling and doing it with them.
Right,
If modeling doesn't do it, then like I said, like I was saying, I go rock climbing with our
right,
son because he wants to. I probably wouldn't do it on my own. But so to do something that they enjoy, it could be basketball, it could be jumping rope, whatever it is, but something to get the heart rate up and the muscles activated, that would definitely be advisable.
right. So let me break this down a little bit because generally you'll see younger children will be much more active than older children. And I'll go with different ages now. You have a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 year old, maybe even seven. They a lot of times they don't stop moving,
Right.
right? They're just going, especially if they have other siblings close to them in age or friends there or whatever, and
Right.
and they're not just sitting on the couch reading a book. Usually, they're all over the place. They get a little bit older, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they start reading more, which is good. I mean, reading is healthy. They'll start playing card games, and they'll have other type of activities which definitely pull away from the active side, except during class, obviously. But
Right. Right.
all other times they will be much more calmed down. And you said modeling is very good, and that would mean that the parents, would be active on their own. The kids see that and they want to do, the same type of thing. Where would you say it's most important for the parents to be showing their children that being active is good? Would that be from a very young age when they're still very active on their own, or more when they're like getting to that 10, 11, 12 area?
Right. It's a good question. I think, well, ideally, the parents should always be active. The parents from the kids, when the kids are young, that they should, just like they want to set an example of eating healthy. If the kids or parents are incorporated part of their life, even before the kids are born, let alone when they're young and older. So the earlier that the parents are setting an example, the more that the kids will pick up on it. Because it's not going to be like, it shouldn't be like, oh, wow, listen, better late than never. So they see the parents want to, at some stage, take their health more seriously. That's great. But if they grow up seeing that it's always a part, it's just, just like, we go to chakras, we go to Mincha, we go to Mara, we learn Torah. Okay, we brush our teeth, we exercise. They realize that that this is part of our life. It's,
Right.
Hashem as a person, that we want to make sure we lead a healthier life. I mean, the healthier our life is, there's so much more we can accomplish in Ruknis and Gashmis. It's just a fact.
Right, 100%. I mean, I had it usually when I do your jump rope or whatever. I usually do it when my kids are sleeping. I mean, they know I have it, but they don't necessarily see. But one day I did it when some of my kids were up, and they were like, "Oh, can I do it? Can I do it? Oh, can I try? Can I try?" And one of my daughters is really good at jump rope,
Right.
so she just went on and on and on. But they see it, they want to do it. It looks fun. It looks exciting. It looks enjoyable. And that's really to your point earlier also, that if you're doing an exercise that you enjoy, so then your kids will see that this is a fun thing. Actually, the reason why I brought into you, besides for you, because you're amazing, but the other reason also because I always enjoy jump rope. I mean, I've done it as a head counselor in camp in front of the whole camp.
Right.
This was like it's a fun thing for me. That's definitely a big part. And it's interesting, just to go to a Torah perspective, is that there's actually, I don't want to go too long on this on here, but there's actually a Moshe that says in the last week's parsha that the main idea of chinuch to our children is to show them that we enjoy Torah and mitzvahs, and I would add, I think, to actually enjoy it, because if you don't actually enjoy it, they're going to see through that. So
Right.
he says that if somebody comes home and says for 50 years he was working so hard to be Moshe Nefesh, to really give up everything for Shabbos, his kids will say, I don't want to do that.
Right.
And he's
Exactly.
saying it as like, well, look how special Shabbos is. I gave up so much for it, but they're like, I don't want to give up so much, right?
Right.
But if he comes over and he says, wow, Shabbos is so enjoyable. I love this. It's so, not just says it, but feels it. The kids are like, I also want to do that fun thing, right?
Right.
So it's the same thing I get with every area of life. And if you're actually going to enjoy the exercise, which is also Avodas Hashem, that will go over to them as well. And I was going to ask you actually if you see a correlation between how active the children are to how active the parents are. And that's what you're saying. You're saying that when the parents are active and then and they enjoy it, then the children automatically want to do more of that, right?
It's not always automatic, but there's a better chance that they will gravitate towards a healthier living if you're living a healthier life. It's a
The
better
healthy life.
chance for sure. I
Right.
can't again, no guarantees. I've seen the opposite too, where the parents don't
There's
leave family.
never a guarantee.
Right.
There's never a guarantee on anything.
Right. So you do your best, and at least even if they don't want to exercise, they'll realize that you value it, like you said before. Like you realize it's important,
Right.
and that's part of and also I think it's important for parents to not just lead, but they should share how they feel. Wow, you know what? Before I was stressed, something was happening at work, whatever it is. Now I feel so much more relaxed.
Right.
Before my mind was all clouded. Now I could think clearer.
Right.
Or now I jump rope for 10 minutes. I have more energy.
Right.
Expressing that as well, I think is helpful too. If they might see it, which is great, but they don't know
Right.
what you're feeling. You could put those feelings and say, "Wow, this is what I feel." They're like, "Wow." Next time they have one of those feelings, they might feel a little stress or something. We have one of our kids. They come home and they only exercise before they do work because they realize that they had a long day, and now this helps them transition. It helps them clear their mind, and now they feel more energy to doing the work. So
That's true. Right. I actually knew someone who was an older person. He's not alive anymore, but at the time I think he was either in his 70s or 80s. I don't remember how old he was then. He was retired and he went back to learning in yeshiva. He was learning in the yeshiva. Everybody else there was Bachrim, and
right,
he was obviously much older than them, and he was retired already. And he told me that between first and second Seder, when all the Bachrim would eat lunch and go take a nap, he would eat lunch and go do exercise. He would go to the gym. And he
yeah,
said he would come into second Seder, rearing ready to go. He was energized, and
yeah,
and the Bachrim would come rolling in, wiping the sleep from their eyes, and they would still need to wake up and everything.
I believe
He
it.
felt like the exercise gave him much more refresher than the nap did for
Yeah,
them.
100% believe it.
So let me ask you like this: exercise is so good and it's so important. Can it offset bad nutrition? So, for example, I want to just eat potato chips all day, and then I'll jump rope, and everything's fine.
It definitely can. I mean, I think the saying goes that the best exercise routine can offset the worst diet. But I would even say more. A lot of people I talk to who have spent time exercising and or spent time working with nutritionists has seen, they've seen more weight loss, I'll say, from nutrition alone.
Mhm.
That doesn't substitute for exercise. That doesn't help your heart rate, doesn't work your body, it doesn't work your muscles. For people who are focused on solely on weight loss, I've seen a lot of people who have lost more weight work on nutritionists versus working on our exercise program. But every nutritionist says you also have to work on your exercise too. Because again, the nutrition might help you lose the weight, which is great for your health. If someone is overweight, it's not healthy for them to live like that.
Right,
But that doesn't help your muscles, and it doesn't help your heart rate, and it doesn't help your heart pump blood, etc., etc. So they go hand in hand. But again, for weight loss only, I've definitely seen more people lose weight working with nutritionists solely than working with exercise program. But the nutritionist says now you have to exercise.
right. So optimally, one would do both. He would eat healthy and exercise. Right.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any closing thoughts or maybe funny stories that happened or something you want to share?
Funny stories. I'll tell you some good stories. I don't know if they're funny, but I'll tell you
Okay.
some stories that just, I like to share with people. Like we have one member who also only has one kidney, donated kidney. We have a bunch of members who have donated kidneys, and they exercise all the time, which is great. But one member, he contacted me. He told me he just went ice skating with his kids for 2 hours. This member is almost 50, and he went ice skating for 2 hours straight. And all the other followers were looking at him like, how did you do that? And he's like,
Mm,
I exercise every day. So
well,
he takes everything we talked about and he's like, you know what?
so
You
now
know,
he's the cool dad, because he's able to
yeah,
ice skate for 2 hours
yeah,
straight.
yeah, right. But he also realizes that he needs energy just to be with his family. He exercises. So like he was able to have that experience with his family. He wasn't standing on the sidelines. And then we also have a member who's in her close to her 80s. And she tells me, when she goes to the supermarket, it's easier to lift up like a case of water onto her cart. And that's what we're talking about. It's just living a healthier life. I mean, it's the other member, I'll tell you two other stories that just, resonate because these are all normal people. That one of our members contacted us after she had her daughter's bat mitzvah, and she was able to dance for 2 hours straight. And she said, before jumping in shape, me and cardio never got along. But she did all these classes, so she was able to enjoy a life experience. And the another one is we have a recent member who is a Rosh Hashiva somewhere. He gives tons of shir, very, very busy. And he's like on our leaderboard every week. And people who know him is like, how does he have the time? And it's like what we talked about earlier. He schedules it into his day. Every morning at the same time, he does a class because he realizes that, yes, I'm busy, but how can I not make time for my health? So, yeah, I don't know about their funny stories, but the moral of the story
Right.
is that each person has to find the time, make the time to invest in their health because the
Right.
benefits of it. Imagine the story I told you before. This person, if he was sitting on the sidelines watching his family ice skate, which I would have done because I don't like ice skating, but he does like ice skating. Now he's able to have that experience with his family. And we don't want people to, because they're not taking time to exercise, miss out on the experience. And it's not just now. The benefits of exercise are compounded. So if it's now, imagine in 15, 25 years, just being alive to experience it with the grandchildren, great grandchildren, because they took the time now. Who would not want that? And in 25 years, you can't turn back the clock. You can't turn back
Right.
the clock.
Right.
For the overall message would be think about now, but think towards the future too. Think about in 15, 20 years, what you want your life to be like, and
Right.
to experience those things in your family and act upon it. Don't wait. Do something now.
Right. Okay. That's a very, very important message. Thank you so much, Moshe Moskowitz, for coming on. And it is our hope that every single person should be able to gain from this and live a healthier and more productive life for themselves and their families. B'siyata
Amen.
d'shmaya. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Parenting Not What You Thought podcast. I truly hope that this episode has been beneficial for you in your parenting. Please let me know either in the comments or by sending me an email at Baruch, that's BORUCH, at bmaparenting.com. Have a wonderful day.